I'm gonna record this time because last round a whole bunch of people asked me for a recording and I didn't record it. So we're gonna record this round. And we probably are gonna have a little bit more intimate group because this is the second round. So I am so excited to have you guys here. This is gonna be really fun. It's gonna be super helpful for you. I'm gonna open the chat. Can you guys let me know in the chat if I'm the main person that you see, if that is working and if you can hear me and all of that, and then we will get going if everything's a-okay. Let's see here. Okay, I see nothing yet. I'm going to assume everything is working, guys. We're probably going to have some people that are popping on, and yay, you can hear me. Okay, and the awesome thing with having a more intimate group this round is Shauna! Hello! Okay, I'm just making sure everyone is muted, so I'm going to mute you, Shauna. Hi! Cool. You guys can hear me. Oh, there are two Amy's. I thought that maybe Amy was signed in on two devices, but no. Okay, guys, so I was just talking about how the awesome thing about this being a more intimate group than the last round. The last round I had a ton of people, and I wasn't able to help a lot of people that had questions as it came up because we had to really keep rolling. So the amazing thing with this being a little bit smaller group is that I'm going to be able to help you guys as things come up. And so don't hesitate to ask questions along the way. Where it makes sense, I will be addressing the questions. Don't worry, if you posted a question, I will get to it even if I don't answer it right away. So I'm so excited to see all you guys here. All right, for those of you that are signing on, I'm gonna mute you as you're coming on, but if it ends up that I need to help you one-on-one, I'll pull you on and I'll unmute you. Okay, cool. So the first place that I want to start with all of this is, first of all, can you guys believe that it's like halfway through January, which seems insane to me? First thing that I want to start with is really having amazing gratitude for the great things that happened for you in 2019. Because I think that it's really easy to get to a fresh new year and kind of go to the place where you're like, yes, this is going to be my year. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to do all the things right that I did wrong last year, or I'm going to meet all the goals this year that I didn't meet last year. And it can easily become this comparison situation instead of just more of a bigger picture, like scanning back to like, we're just continuing on with life, people. Like, really nothing has changed now that it's January. It's a great opportunity to recommit to things. It's a great opportunity to approach things in a different way. It's a great opportunity to implement things that helped us meet goals where maybe we couldn't in the past. But it's not like last year sucked and we're going to figure out how to make next year better. And by continuing to maybe have that thinking, it's going to be very hard for you. So I want to start off with everyone sharing in the chat, what's one thing that was amazing for you in 2019? Whether it was for you, whether it was for someone you know, maybe it was just even something that happened in the world. What's something amazing for you that happened in 2019? I can say that for me, Carrie, it's good to see you. I had a baby. I added a third boy to our group. And that is probably the most amazing big thing that happened to me in 2018. A lot of other good things, but that's one that I am focusing on, was fantastic, and I have tons of gratitude for. So you guys share, and then we are going to dive in to what we're covering today. Yes, Shauna, you launched your Fearless Art online workshop, which is so fantastic. For those of you that are not familiar with Shauna, Shauna Klingerman is an artist, and she's also a teacher and an amazing leader, and she's an inspiration, and she has a program that helps people break into really becoming an artist from the inside out. Husband got a new job. Awesome, Amy. Moved into your first house. That's awesome, Amy. That's really exciting. Okay, so it's kind of from this place that I want to start, like the place of just like a deep gratitude for what happened last year. So what we're going to go over in the workshop, the last time I ran this, I tried to keep it to an hour, and it really would have been a lot better if I had extended it to 90 minutes. So I'm going to go 90 minutes. There will be a recording for those of you if you can't make the full 90 minutes, but I really recommend that you be here live if you can. So what we're going to go over, you're going to select your big thing to focus on for the year. Many of you probably already have selected that. We're also going to go through an exercise to kind of test it and make sure that it's the right thing, because the focus that you have for the year really will determine how successful you are or not, okay? We're going to assess where you're at. We're going to determine if you're in a place to make it happen. We're going to figure out what you need to shift and in what order to get the best results. And then we're going to go over daily work to stay on track. Does all that sound good? All right. Do any of you guys have any questions so far? Pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to start. Okay. So how many of you guys already have the thing that you want to focus on for the year? Let me know. Give me a 1 in the chat if you have the thing that you want to focus on for the year. A 2 if you're a little bit unsure. Amy's a 1. And then as you're doing that, 1, I'm guessing that there's going to be a lot of 1s. Now, how many of you guys, 1-ish, mostly 1. Okay. So how many of you guys are feeling like you have your one big thing, but you also have kind of all these other things that you want to do too? Yes, 1-ish. Okay. So yes. So you're telling yourself you have your one thing, but really in your head, you have like a whole bucket of things. Is that accurate for any of you? Give me a yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Always. Okay. Okay. So definitely, I want you guys to be very brutally honest with yourself and choose one big thing to focus on. Now, that does not mean that you aren't going to get to do other things. It doesn't mean that like you have to set everything else in your life aside. It means that you are going to commit to working on this one thing with the majority of your energy, and you're going to work on it until you see the results that you want. Do any of you guys have like a, no way, I can't do that. I can't choose one thing? What's kind of the reaction to this? If I tell you have to choose one thing. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do, but honestly, for the best success and for the most rewards, that is really, really, really what I want you guys to do. The reason, kind of freeing. Oh, awesome, Amy. That's fantastic. So here's the deal. I would way rather you guys choose one thing to focus on for the year, and then and one really tangible result to focus on for the year, and then blinders on, work on it until it's achieved, and then start your next thing. Because if you're trying to even unconsciously do all the things at once, then I see a lot of people popping on. I'm just going to mute people as you're coming on. And yeah. Okay. So sorry, my views are so weird on here all of a sudden. Okay. So I would much, much, much rather have you choose one big thing to focus on, one tangible result, and work on it, blinders on until you get there, and then start with the next thing. Because you're going to achieve it way, way, way faster than if you're trying to achieve all the other things at once. That's just honestly how it's going to work, because I'm going to urge you to choose things that are really stretching you. really stretching your ability, really stretching who you are as a person, really asking you to grow in ways that you haven't grown before. And it's going to feel like a lot at sometimes. Sometimes it will feel overwhelming. Sometimes it will feel like you feel tired. So it's a simple thing that I teach, but it's not necessarily always the easiest thing. Sometimes it will be easy and sometimes it won't. And so if you have multiple things that you're focusing on, it disperses your ability, it disperses your energy, it gives you way too many things to be distracted with. So you have a lot more excuses than if you're focusing on one thing. And all of that constraint of just focusing on one thing is going to help you a lot with your internal drama that gets in the way. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? So with that, I want you to pop in the comments, if you're comfortable, sharing the one big thing that you want to focus on for the year, or in other words, focus on until you get the results that you want. Put it in the comments now. And then we're going to go through a little test to see what your body and your brain actually think about this one big thing. Grow your email list and start email marketing. Awesome, Carrie. So Carrie, I would urge you to get more specific. What is that? What is grow your email list? What's a tangible, measurable thing? So grow it to 1,000 people. And what does start email marketing mean? Does that mean email my list once a week? What does that mean specifically? Amy, launch my course. Awesome. Do you have goals around selling your course? Curious. What is launch? Obviously implies selling. So how many people would you love to have? Relaunch, rebrand my company. Awesome. Getting my course on Teachable. Awesome. Okay. So those are all really interesting, guys, because I'm also going to push you a little bit around the rebranding, launching, all of the things, launch a new brand. Awesome. So, oh, sorry. We've got some more people jumping on, so I'm just going to mute everybody. Okay. All right. So I am going to urge you guys to, I want to push some of you to think a little bit bigger, because launching a new brand is a giant feat depending on what the scale and magnitude is, and that is fantastic. That is awesome. What results are you really looking for with that launch? I just want you to dig a little deeper, because generally we don't launch a brand just to launch a brand. What is it that you really want? Likewise, getting my course onto Teachable, okay, is that the end result? Is that what you really want, is to get your course onto Teachable? Or do you want to sell your course? Or do you want Teachable to feature your course? Or, so I want you guys to dig a little deeper on like, what do you really, what are the results you really want, right? Okay. Profitable online product business. So great. So Felicity, what does that mean for you in 2020? Does that mean sell my first thing? Does that mean sell my first 100 things? Does that mean, hey, Angela, for me, relaunching my course on Teachable is to sell it, to build my authority, bring in income, cover my current expenses, and build my email list audience towards book publishing. Awesome. So it sounds like if you're to boil that down to really tangible results, then relaunching, I'm just reading it through again. Sell it, bring in income, cover my current expenses. Okay, so I want you to focus on one of those things as a tangible, measurable goal. So figure out how many of your courses do you need to sell to cover your expenses, or if you want to push it further to have a profit on top, which would probably be an amazing goal, right? Shauna, I want to put into place a monthly lettering art course release. Awesome. refresh the company to attract new business and rejuvenate existing client relations. Okay, so Amy Maggs. So when we dig a little deeper, the refresh that you're talking about, your goal isn't like my goal for the year is that I want to rebrand my company. Your goal is that you want new business and you want to strengthen existing client relationships, right? So how much new business? What does it look like to strengthen or rejuvenate, you say, existing client relations? Actually, rejuvenate probably means like get people back to purchasing, right? Felicity, so I don't know what R50 means, unless that's supposed to be a $, which would be turnover $50,000 per month. I don't know what that means, Felicity. Okay. Shauna, I would love that course, still thinking about my goal. Okay, so I just want you guys to think about, sometimes we tell ourselves that the goal that we come up with, or the thing that we're going to focus on for making happen for the year, is what we think is the how or the solution to what we really want. Does that make sense? So say what you really want is you really want new business. You have already decided that rebranding is the way to get new business. So all of a sudden the rebranding becomes your goal, but you can rebrand and never get new business. That's very possible. So I just want you guys to be super honest about what is it, the result that you want. And for this point in time, don't worry about how you get there. We're going to work on that, okay? Okay, cool. So, all right. So now with the big focus that you have in mind, the big thing that you want to achieve, the big result that you want to achieve for the year, we're going to go through a little bit of an exercise to determine if it's the right goal for you. And the reason that I want to do this is a whole bunch of things. I'm actually going to get into it after we do it. Okay, so everybody close your eyes. I have a little bit of a plug nose, so hopefully you guys don't hear me breathe too heavy. But I want everyone to, if you're sitting, if you're driving, don't do this. But if you're sitting, sit in a comfortable spot, sit up straight, close your eyes, take a few big deep breaths. Now I want you to focus on that one big goal that you have for the year. The one big thing that you're going to do. And I want you to imagine that it's 1 year from now. So it's 2021, it's in January, and you're looking back over the past year and you achieved that thing. You did that thing. I want you to really feel like it was real, like you really did it. And notice the thoughts that are coming up about it. Now, this is where I want you to take note. How is it feeling in your body? So there's the difference between the thoughts that we have about things that we do, and then feelings in our body that we have about things that we do. So when you see this come to reality, and you're thinking back to this point in time when you're on this call, and it maybe felt like it was so far away, or it felt like it was so impossible, or it felt like whatever to you, and now it's done, what's coming up for you? Now, there's a chance that you may not be feeling any feelings. And there's a chance you might be feeling a whole slew of feelings, like a whole range of like totally numb, which is okay. We're going to get into what that means, to all the way to like, I'm going to barf. So I want you to take note of what that is. And once you've taken note of that, then I want you to open your eyes and come back to me. Now, if you guys can share in the comments, what feelings came up for you? Did you feel numb, like it didn't really register in your body that much? Relief? What other feelings? Amy, relief is great. I definitely want to talk about that for a minute once other people share theirs. So Amy, excited but anxious, satisfied. My heart felt full, like fulfilled. I love that, you guys. I love all of these because I just really do. Stephanie, welcome. I'm gonna mute you when I get a chance. Okay. So, did any of you guys feel accomplished, awesome? Were all of you guys able to like really feel a feeling, or did any of you feel like not like not, you didn't really get a feeling? Yes. Okay. Because I do want to address if anybody felt like numb or like it didn't really register, I want to talk about that. Felicity, I know it. Okay, so if none of you felt numb, I'm not going to really get into it. If any of you guys that are watching the replay really tried to really like focus to access some feelings and you just really wasn't, then reach out to me because I want to talk to you about that. Okay, so I want to go through a few of these and then just talk about kind of what it means for you, right? Okay, so the feeling that came up for you is a direct correlation, a direct response to the thoughts that you were having about achieving this thing or having met this goal. And it tells us a whole lot about where we're at now. Now, it can tell us that there's a big gap, or it can tell us that there's a small gap. It can tell us how much we believe it's going to happen. It can tell us a bunch of things. So I want to go back to, I'm just going to go through the ones that you guys shared, a few of the ones that you shared, to show you kind of what this exercise means for you. So Amy, you said relief. I have a lot of clients that when they first start doing this kind of work, tell me that a lot. And what that tells me is that you are in a place right now where you don't fully believe that it's going to happen for you. And you can tell me if this is on or off, but I can tell you for sure that a part of you doesn't believe that whatever your big thing is going to happen for you. Because if you really truly believed in your body that whatever your big thing is going to happen, then you wouldn't feel relief, because it would never be in question, right? So like, this is maybe a horrible example, but you're like running from a tiger. This is a horrible example, but just stay with me for a second. You're running from a tiger. In your brain, you're going, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to make it. You make it. You feel terribly relieved because you're like, oh, I didn't know I was going to get there. I didn't think I was ever going to get there. I thought I was going to die. I thought the tiger was going to get me. I'm so relieved. But if you're running from the tiger and you're like, no, I know I'm faster than a tiger. This tiger has a broken leg. I'm the fastest runner in the world. Blah, 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 blah. Then when you get away from the tiger, you're just like, yep, I knew I was going to get away from the tiger. So when people tell me relief, when we start to work together, that all that tells me is that you have some belief work to do. Now, everybody has some belief work to do. yours might be a little bit stronger of work to do up front. And that's okay. It's great because it tells you what you need to work on. All right. So I kind of got off on a tangent, but okay. Excited, but anxious too, the other Amy. So that's awesome. So that tells me that, hold on, I'm just going to mute Sarah here. Okay. So that tells me that you're connected with what your thing is. That if you're feeling a little bit anxious, for anybody that felt a little anxious, a little nervous, anything like that, that's telling me that there's a part of you that really believes this is going to happen. Because when you believe something is going to happen for you, then it makes you a little nervous if it's something you've never done before. Like, I don't know, I'm thinking of something I've never done before that would be realistic for me to do. My brain's going to all these weird things like, I don't know, jumping out of a plane or like winning an ice skating contest, which is so strange. But anyway, my point is that if you feel any of the feelings like nervous, anxious, any of that energy, that shows me that you have faith that if you are committed and connected to this, that it will happen for you. Because it's kind of scary to have things have new things happen for us. So I really love to see that. I love to see that because that shows me that you're processing this big thing in a very realistic way, right? Okay, so let's see. I'm going to read these new comments. Wasn't able to connect emotionally to my vision. Deborah. Okay, so this is what I wanted to speak to also. So can you tell me, Deborah, what's the big thing that you're trying to focus on or that you want to focus on for the year? So when we aren't able to emotionally connect, that is really important information. Now, this used to be me, and I used to feel like I was doing it wrong. I obviously wasn't good at this. I was failing, blah, blah, blah. It's absolutely none of that. It's really, really important information. And there's a number of reasons that we might not be able to emotionally really connect to our vision. Now, it may be because, okay, that made a lot of sense. Okay, so Deborah, when you get a chance, share with me what your big goal is so I could use it as I talk through this. But if you're feeling like it's not registering, there's a few things that are potentially going on. One, you may be a person who over the years has gotten really good at disconnecting from your emotions. And it happens to a lot of people. It happens to me. I've had to do a lot of work to get back in touch with my emotions. Yoga, wellness, adventure blog. Okay, cool. So that may be one piece of it. Another piece of it might be that okay, you want to start your yoga, wellness, adventure blog. Okay, so and you may have missed that at the beginning, Deborah. So is your goal actually that you want to start your blog? What is the result that you're looking for? Is it the result is have a published blog? Is the result post once a week to my new blog? Is the result have one person read my blog? If the goal really is to start a blog, then I can actually see why probably you weren't able to emotionally connect to that very much, because that is something that is 100% one, in your control, and two, maybe isn't actually stretching you that much. Like I am not going to emotionally connect that much to, I'm not going to emotionally connect that much to do the dishes today, because that's like something that I know that I can just do. Now, starting a blog for you might actually be something that brings up a lot of emotions. Maybe it makes you feel really nervous. Maybe you have all these hesitations about the blog, but maybe it's something that's very, very much in your comfort zone. And in that case, you're going to not really feel much about it, right? So that's one reason why you might feel numb about it, in which case I'm going to urge you to push yourself a little bit more. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone a little bit more. Now, another reason that okay, but maybe the blog is a step towards a yoga wellness coaching business or a place to build authority for speaking on travel. So Angela, I'm not sure if Angela, you're referring to Deborah's situation or not. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Deborah has to answer that. But so the third reason why you may not be able to emotionally connect that much is maybe your focus is a little bit off in terms of what you're able to emotionally connect to that ties into your values and your beliefs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, for example, my focus goal could be a dollar amount for my business for the year. But in the past, when I have tried to do that, when I've tried to focus on that as my focus goal, my body doesn't connect with that as much. I can't bring up all the emotions as much as I can when I focus on, like right now, I'm focusing on filling my coaching business for 2020, filling every coaching spot that I have. That brings up all the stuff for me. That makes me very excited. It makes me very nervous. It makes my brain have all these objections as to why I can't. It brings up all the stuff. And that's what we want. That is what we want, because those are the things that we work through to get there. That's what we're going to get into in a second. Okay. So does everyone feel like and so for those of you that felt like you weren't terribly emotionally connected, I want you to brainstorm some other things around the topic that you're thinking of. So for example, like I said, somebody could say that their goal is to make $100,000 this year. Maybe when you focus on that, it doesn't really register. Maybe it kind of feels numb. Maybe that doesn't make you feel like that's really bringing up all the stuff. But maybe when you say sell 100 paintings at $1,000 a piece, if you're an artist, maybe when you focus on that, then you're like, oh, I feel sort of sick to my stomach, but that sounds kind of cool. I don't know. That means that is your focus, even though it's the exact same result of $100,000. Does that make sense? So there's nuances within the focus, and it makes a big difference if you can key in on the thing that brings up all the feelings, because that's going to get you way further. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? My nose is totally running because I have a cold. So I'm going to give you the activity that we're going to dive into now, and I'm going to run and get a Kleenex. Okay? All right. So I want you guys to go through this with what you have currently. If you're going to get a replay, so you can go back and you can redo this exercise if you feel like you want to revisit it. But we're going to move on. Okay. So this next thing that we're going to do, we're going to brain dump all the thoughts. So what I want you to do now is we're going to do another close your eyes exercise, okay? So sit up, take a deep breath. Now, if you've selected something that brought up a lot of emotions for you, this exercise is going to be really, really fruitful for you. And it may not seem like it at first, but it absolutely will. So I want you to go back to focusing on what that thing is. what your big goal is for the year, what the results are that you're going to work towards, whether you achieve them in March, whether you achieve them in November, whether you achieve them in January of the following year, it doesn't matter. Focus on that result. Now, I want you to feel all the feelings that are coming up. Feel all the feelings that are coming up. Now, as you're feeling all these feelings and you're starting to really see the possibility that this is going to happen for you, there's going to be a whole lot of thoughts that start swirling around in your head, especially if you've selected a goal or a focus that's going to push you, that's going to, and push, I mean, in a way of like, it really is going to urge you to stretch the idea of what's possible for you. So you're going to have a whole lot of thoughts that are coming up about this. This is where I want you to, and I forgot to mention, I need all of you guys to have paper and some sort of pen or pencil. So I hope that you have that. If you don't have that, go get that now. What I want you to do is I'm going to give you some prompts, and I want you to start doing a massive brain dump of all the thoughts that are coming up as you focus on this thing. Okay? So, why is this going to work? Why is this not going to work? How will your life be way better once you've achieved this result? How will your life be way worse once you've achieved this result? What's going to make it really hard? What's going to make it hard or close to impossible to make this happen for you? What are all the things that are going to get in the way? How will the people around you feel about it? What other problems will it cause in your life when this thing, this result that you want, becomes reality? Okay, so I want you to try to fill up an entire sheet of paper, doing a massive brain dump of all the things that come to you. And I don't want you to censor yourself. If you think of something, you're like, oh yeah, but da da da. No, if you think of it, put it down. I'm going to go grab a Kleenex and I'm going to come back. If you guys need the prompts again, just let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes to go through this, okay? I'll be right back. You bet, Amy's. So, okay, what is going to work about this? What isn't going to work about this? How will your life be better? How will your life be worse? What's going to make it really hard to achieve this? How will the people around you feel about it? What are all the things that are going to get in the way? what problems will it cause when this becomes reality? So we have about 6-ish more minutes. We're about halfway through. If you guys feel like you're getting to a spot where you're kind of wrapping up, you've had a huge brain dump and you don't have anything more coming to you, just give me just write ready in the chat so I can, if people are wrapping up earlier than I anticipated. Otherwise, everything that's coming out, I want you to just write down. Thanks for letting me know, Felicity. Okay, Carrie, ready. Looks like people are starting to wrap up a little bit. I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes. 1 more minute. 2 more minutes. All right, guys, one more minute and then we're going to move on. So if you are still writing, wrap up. You can go back and do this, finish it up after. Okay, cool. So now what I want you guys to do is whether you, okay, awesome. So if you maybe got my email before we started class, you potentially brought a highlighter. If not, no big deal. You can use your regular writing utensil. I want you to go through and I want you to either highlight or underline anything that is a negative thought. So negative or anything that speaks to what is maybe going to get in the way of your results, the results that you want. So it could be things around the idea of not having enough time, being too tired, your kids are a handful, no one wants to pay what you need to charge, you don't know how to market yourself, clients are hard to find, your parents will resent you, you don't really need it, you're doing okay where you're at, you've never met a goal before, you don't know how to use the internet. Whatever it is that is a negative thought or something that's going to get in the way of you achieving your goal, I want you to underline it or highlight it. And then when you've done that, I want you to take note of how much is highlighted or underlined. And I want you to give me kind of an estimate, not kind of, I want you to give me an estimated percentage of how much of your page is underlined. So is it like half of the things that you wrote down are underlined? Maybe 100% underlined, 20% underlined? What is your percentage? And then share it in the comments, please. You guys, you all said a third. That's pretty consistent. I'm just really surprised. 50 plus, 60 plus, okay. No, sorry, 2/3. Yes, 50%. Okay. I was gonna say, so those of you that said that a third of it was underlined is actually a really low percentage. Honestly, I will tell you when I do this, it's like 80% plus. So I don't want you to judge whatever percentage you have, more than 75. Okay. So I don't want you to judge whatever percentage you have. Honestly, any percentage is okay. This is not about the percentage. This is to give you kind of just to mark a place in the sand of where you're at now. But it's our brain's job to come up with all of the obstacles and all of the reasons why we should stay exactly where we're at. That is its job. Our brain's job is to conserve energy for when we are in a situation where that's like a fight or flight, need to survive so that we have enough energy for it, right? But we're not in that situation a lot in our life. So we are up against, I shouldn't say we're up against our brain, but in some ways we are, because our brain wants us to stay where we're at. So if you've set a goal that's very much pushing yourself in a big way, then your brain is going to revolt and it's going to tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't do that at all. And so it's totally normal to have over 50% negative or like negative or objections or obstacles, right? Because it's doing its job. That it's what it's supposed to do. So, Shauna, when you say I was really focusing on the negative over here, that's what I actually wanted you guys to do. I want you to be aware of all of the negative, because for those of you, last time I did this workshop, somebody wasn't able to fully connect with it because she's like, I feel like I'm doing this wrong. I feel like I'm writing down affirmations of like, you can make this happen, blah, blah, blah. And she felt like it was very empty. She wasn't connecting with it. She didn't believe them. And so by having really honestly laying it all out there, most of us are going to have mostly negative, and that's okay. It's good, because then we know what we're dealing with, right? Okay, so I just want you to put a pin in that while we go on to the next thing, and then we're going to circle back to this, and it's going to all kind of come together, all right? So I want you guys to either get out a fresh sheet of paper or turn your sheet over. I want you to have a spot to write, because we're going to write something out. Okay, so yeah, okay, I'm gonna move that to the end. Okay, so I want you to write out these things. And some of you guys, if you've coached with me before, if you've had even free consults, or if you're a client of mine, are gonna be familiar with this. Are any of you guys familiar with something called a self-coaching model? Or the idea, I'm sure all of you are familiar with this idea that, okay, so Amy's saying no. I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with the idea that our thoughts create our reality. There's like a lot of, talk that swirls around about manifestation and all of this stuff. And while I love me some like woo-woo big concepts, I'm very much a practical person. And I fully know that our thoughts do create our reality, but not in the way that I feel like it's generally presented. Generally, I feel like this idea is presented in like, if you just focus on what you want, you'll get it. Or like, I don't know, like write down 3 times a day, I saw Marie Forleo do this recently. I am a New York Times bestseller. I am a New York Times bestseller. Well, if you're not connected with that and you don't believe that, that's going to totally backfire on you, okay? It's not going to work. So this is a very practical way to break down so that you can really see how your thoughts do create your reality. Because you're going to be applying this, but I want you to understand this, okay? So this is what I want you to write down. And you're going to write this like in a column, okay? So at the top of the column, I want you to write circumstance. Now below circumstance, I want you to write thought. Below thought, I want you to write feeling. Below feeling, I want you to write action. And below action, I want you to write result. Okay, so does anybody need me to repeat that? It should be circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result. Okay, so no matter what result you're going after, what goal you're going after, what emotional thing that you're dealing with, what you can basically plug anything in your life, current circumstance, future circumstance, anything in your life you can plug into this model, and I'm going to show you. And it will kind of like this machine that will pop out some really, really valuable information for you. So this is how it works. Each thing that we're going to go through influences the next. So we have circumstances in our life. Circumstance is anything that is what people would say is a fact. Like if you were in a court of law, people would agree that that is a it's just a circumstance. There's no opinions about it. So it might be the dollar amount in your bank account. It might be the color of your house. It might be the number of children you have. It might be what you do for a job, whatever it is. Circumstance is just, it is what it is, something in your world. Thought is we all have thoughts about our circumstances. And those tend to be across a giant range, depending on who you are, they can totally vary. One of you might have a circumstance, say for example, we put broccoli in the circumstance line. I might have a really amazing loving thought about broccoli, and you might have a, dreaded hateful thought towards broccoli. So this is where the model this is called the self-coaching model, so I call it the model. So this is where it really is going to start to become your own and give you a lot of information. So the thought is about the circumstance, right? Then thoughts are actually what evoke feelings in our body. So a lot of us, before we learn this, realize or think that we just have feelings in response to circumstances. But what's actually happening is whether you realize the thought consciously or it's an unconscious thought, and this happens in like a fraction of a second, we have a thought about the circumstance, and that's what triggers a feeling in our body. Now, we take action from feelings, and it might be inaction, but we take action or inaction from feelings, and then the results always come from the action, right? So I'm going to take you through an example to show you how this works. So let's, and you guys can see, I'm going to just show you quickly. This is how I do it. So you can see CTFAR. That's kind of how I write it out. And then I fill these in like it's a fill in the blank, right? So I want to run this through you. So let's take a circumstance of, we have a to-do list. Most people have a to-do list of some sort, right? So I want you guys to, we're going to close your eyes to go through this. Close your eyes. You have a to-do list. And I want you to really focus on the thought, I have so much to do. I have so much to do. What feeling is that bringing up in your body when you focus on having so much to do? You guys share in the comments what feeling you have when you're focusing on having so much to do. Panic, anxiety, overwhelm, anxiety. Yeah, totally. So, overwhelm, yeah, all of those. Okay, so from now go back to that place. So whether you were panic, anxiety, overwhelm, whatever it was, now feel that feeling. So you're feeling like so overwhelmed and you're focusing on having so much to do. When you are really overwhelmed, really in a place of anxiety, what actions do you take? I just don't know where to begin. None. Totally. 1,000,000%. You sit there, you focus on being overwhelmed, you don't take action, or this is a really good one, you make a lot more lists and you plan out how you're going to tackle it. Felicity circling thoughts, yeah. My favorite thing to do is like, I'm just going to plan this out because that'll make it more manageable and then I won't be overwhelmed. And then I have like 100 sticky notes and I'm just as overwhelmed, but I have, that's me, list upon list. Yeah, so you're like, hey, I just spent like 5 hours of my day planning out what I need to do instead of doing it. So then the result that we have is nothing actually gets done. And this is how we know a lot of times I end up doing something unrelated. Totally, Shauna, totally. Okay, so then what's really amazing about this model is when we run that through the model, the result that we get will always prove the thought true. So in this case, nothing actually gets done, proves the thought I have so much to do to be true. And then we circle through again. And so you can get stuck in this place, in this like thought result loop of believing that you have so much to do. But the belief that you have so much to do is actually what's causing nothing to get done, because you can track it back to the thought. So here I want you to do a different exercise with the same, we're gonna go through the same exercise with a different thought, okay? So close your eyes. Same to-do list. I want you to focus on the thought, I got this. I totally got this. What feeling is I got this bringing up for you? Motivation, peace and energy, determination. A little nervous. That's okay, Shauna. Then that just means that that thought isn't connecting with you, and that's okay. Or that it's not, it's in a different way. Empowered. Okay, so when I did this exercise, I feel calm. Okay, cool. So this is really interesting because everyone gets different feelings from different thoughts, because it's 100% related to what our beliefs and our values are and what our past experiences is and what our childhood is and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so I got this. For me, it brings up a feeling of readiness. Like I'm like kind of like almost on the edge of my seat. Like I got this, I'm ready. So when I feel ready, I just dive in. When I feel ready, I dive in, I start things, and things get done. And then that tells me, I think I have a level of disbelief for that somewhere. I feel hopeful, but nervous. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Shauna, you probably do. So in this example, I got this, might not be the perfect example for you specifically. This is why it's really important for us to intentionally focus on thoughts that when we plug them in to our body and into the model, they create the feelings that drive the results that we want in our life. So for some of you, like this exercise has shown, for some of you, I've got this, might help me get my to-do list done. That might not actually help Shauna get her to-do list done. She might need to cultivate a different thought about her to-do list that brings up the feelings that she's looking for. Where I've got this makes me feel ready. She needs to focus on what thought would make her feel ready. Right? So it's fascinating because different thoughts for different people are going to bring up totally different things. And that's why this is kind of like, it's a little bit of a puzzle, but it's so powerful. Because if my goal was to knock out my to-do list every day, and I spent 80% of my day feeling ready, I would achieve that almost every day. But if I spent 80% of my day feeling overwhelmed, what do you think my to-do list would look like? So this is really all about, it's like being a detective and figuring out which thoughts are serving you to make your result come true and which thoughts are not serving you. And how can we shift those and how can we work with those to get them in alignment so that it becomes way, way, way easier. Look at it this way. It's like the difference between, imagine somebody who has the thought and the belief, it's like an ingrained thought that the most important thing in life is to have a clean house. They believe that through and through. That's the most important thing in life. And then, and this is an extreme example, guys, but then somebody who thinks, it doesn't really matter what my house looks like because nobody sees it. what result are those people going to experience on a daily basis within their home? Who's going to have like the perfectly anal clean house, and who's going to have the house that's like a little bit of a mess all the time because it doesn't really matter? So you have to be the detective of looking at what is the result you want and how can you track it back to your thoughts to cultivate thoughts that make it almost effortless to get that result. Is that making sense to you guys? Because we're gonna bring this full circle, but is any of this not jiving for you? Give me a yes in the comments if it's all making sense. Okay. Yes, cool. So now, yes, yes, yes. I love yeses, but if you're a no, that's okay too. Okay. So now, yeah, you're welcome, Angela. You'll get the replay. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to go back to that list, that highlighted list, or that underlined list. And we're gonna put our detective hats on for one little second. And I want you to scan it looking for themes, a theme or multiple themes, because chances are you're going to find some thoughts that are all related to the same topic. And I'm talking specifically about the negative thoughts, the underlined ones. So maybe a lot of them are just phrased differently, but they get down at the root of it. It's like the same issue. So maybe it's like a lack of time or a lack of money or a lack of confidence or whatever it is for you. Chances are you're going to have one or two themes that really stand out to you as coming up over and over on that list. So I want you guys to take a minute. I'm going to give you a minute to look through your list and see what you can come up with in terms of what's coming up over and over, but it's like they're stated differently. 3 that were over and over. So Amy, what were your 3? Does anyone else see any themes that are coming up over and over? My family won't have enough time, quit after I start. Yep, totally. So oftentimes when and these will change for you over time. They will change for you. I'm afraid I don't know enough about what I want to write about. Yeah, okay. So that you don't know enough. So not being able to handle and manage growth. That's a really interesting, and I love that one, Shauna. I mean, so when I do this a lot, it's no surprise, but so I have 3 really small kids. They're all under the age of 5. The thing that comes up for me often over and over and over is not having enough energy. I'm afraid that I'm going to get tired. I'm afraid that I'm going to just not have the energy to do it. Not having enough time, family, lose my freedom. Lose my freedom is a huge one, Felicity. I worked through this years ago, and that is a big one because a lot of us, if you're a creative, I have a lot of creatives that are probably on today. A lot of us got into this partially for the freedom and to not have a boss and to have kind of control over what we're working on and all of that. And there's this idea that we're going to lose that. And for many of us, we're not willing to let that go. And so it's very insightful because that's what you're up against. So this is what I want you to do now. I want you to take one of the thoughts in your overall theme. So for example, Shauna's was not being able to handle or manage growth. So take one of the thoughts related to that there may be one that like really stands out to you that's like, yes, this is like the prevalent thought, the one that keeps coming back over and over. I want you to take that one and I want you to plug it into the self-coaching model. So I want you to write in the thought line whatever the thought is, and I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes or so. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to focus on that thought. And then I want you to fill out the rest of it. What feeling is really coming up when you're focusing on this? What action do you feel like you want to take from that feeling? So I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes to do that, and then we're going to come back. Exactly how we feel now, Amy. I want you to exactly how you feel now when you focus on that thought, exactly like we did about the to-do list thoughts. So when you focus on that thought, what feelings come up for you? And then when you guys are done, I want you to pop in the comments, in the chat, what result did you end up with? You're stuck on action. Okay, Shauna, so what feeling do you have? Shauna, I'm gonna unmute you so we can talk about it. I can't handle this responsibility. Okay, Shauna, can you hear me? Okay,
yeah.
cool. Okay, so walk me through what you've got. I can't handle this responsibility.
Yeah, like that I don't have the skill inside of myself to. And I feel like before it's even happened, like I've already let people down. Like I've already like not given people what they needed from me. And so that I feel kind of ashamed of myself. Like it instantly makes me feel ashamed of myself.
Okay, so I want to break this out a little bit more. So
yeah,
I'm letting people down is a thought, not a feeling.
Okay.
So we can test this also. So I can't handle this is essentially one of the thoughts. I can't handle this.
Yeah.
So when you focus on I can't handle this,
yeah,
what comes up? What feeling comes up for you?
just like guilt and like just I feel like ashamed. I feel guilty. I feel like I'm just that feeling of having made a terrible mistake that's affecting other people.
Okay, so you've got a whole yours are like all tangled. That's this is why you're having a hard time with the action piece. So we can have multiple thoughts and multiple feelings coexisting all at the same time and get kind of tangled in together, and then and then we have to like piece them apart to make sense of them. Okay, so I want you to. So I'm letting people down.
Yeah, I think that's
that's like, hold on, I got it. So I'm letting people down is like gut in my stomach guilty. Yeah. I can't handle it. Is that guilt?
They're just so connected for me because like inadequacy is kind of like I feel inadequate, like more like empty or lacking when I think about I can't handle it.
Is there a difference for you between I can't handle it and I can't do it?
Yeah, I think I actually feel like I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe I feel like I can do it, but I feel like follow through is like that's my biggest fear is like this follow through aspect, this lack of like responsibility that people need from me. Uh,
Okay.
so it's not like I
So,
can't take the step. It's like I'm gonna like do it, and then I'm not gonna see it through or live it out.
so you're
And that,
talking about, and I, because I know yours specifically. So like you're talking about, you're going to get like all the pieces in place, but like the ongoing maintenance is going to feel like
right.
too much.
Somehow I'm gonna like not be able to like see that through, or I think that's my big fear that I run into.
Why do you think that?
Because I think I have like some thoughts about myself about being flaky or being I have ADHD. I'm just distractible and little scattery and all of those things.
Is it an accurate statement for you to think like you're going to get bored with it?
Not I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think I'm going to get bored with it. I think I just worry that I'm going to underdeliver more than that I'm going to get bored.
Ongoing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, so who is it that you feel like you're going to be letting down?
Like all my customers, all my like, yeah.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
you,
I feel that way even when I don't post on Instagram. Like I like run into that all the time that I'm letting people down. And so on a bigger scale, when I like I'm paying people that are coming to me, that idea that I'm gonna let people down, I feel like already, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So yours is, and then tell me what's the actual result that you're responding to? It's not getting your thing in place.
No,
It's
it's like
it's
the regular, like if I had for example, if I had like a subscription, like would I not get, calls posted in time? Would I miss like the little pieces here and there? Would I be running late all the time? Those types of things?
okay. So there's thoughts around there that are like I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, yeah, maybe, yeah,
Okay, so those are two separate things going on. So I'm letting, and it's not even I'm letting people down, but it's I will let people down, right?
yeah, yeah,
Or I might let people down, something like
mhm,
that.
mhm,
I might disappoint people,
yeah, yeah,
right? Okay, so there's I might let people down is one thought. And
mhm,
and the and the I'm letting people down, that's like the terrible guilt. That like I think that the second I think that I get like a pit in my stomach, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then what did I just say to you? I can't keep up with it.
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
when you think I can't keep up with it, how does that make you feel?
Kind of a similar feeling because it's so for me that's like the same. The reason I care about keeping up with it is because I don't want to let people down. And so,
But you're tangling them. I want you to
yeah,
focus on, imagine you're thinking about this for a different circumstance.
I think
Imagine
that I
you're
can
thinking
keep
about it
up with
for
it.
like,
I think that I know that I can keep up with it. Like, I think that I don't feel that fear as much. Like,
okay,
I feel like I'm a problem solver enough that when I am, like, I can handle the mistakes I will make, I can handle. Like, I think I feel that confidence on some level
okay.
versus the like letting people down feels a little bit more like out of my control and nebulous and inevitable, like that's my like gut. Ugh.
Okay, so, but this is really interesting because if we go back to the
Yeah,
guilty in your gut,
yeah,
you're like, you feel guilty, but then there's also like, and then if you have the thought, I might let people down, that's also like a twinge of like fear, because that's like a future thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like terrified you might let someone down.
Yeah.
So from that place, you said that you do this with social media sometimes too. From that place of feeling guilty,
Mhm.
what do you do?
Oh, like the action that I tend to take from there.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I either like avoid and don't take the step,
Uh-huh.
or I overcompensate. Those are the two things I do. So like
Yeah.
I over deliver out of like some shame for something that is kind of nebulous, and then I get overwhelmed because I'm like doing too many things.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
if we avoid it, maybe I'll make this feeling go away. If I
Uh-huh.
overcompensate, then I'll ensure that I'm not upsetting anybody.
Right.
Both of those are kind of like at your own expense,
Yeah. Yeah.
and neither of them, and none of it is true. I mean, you're
Right.
not letting anybody down. Like,
Yeah.
so,
Well.
so so I want you to plug those into the
Got it.
actions and then see what the results are. And I'm talking about the results for even within,
Overcompensating.
yeah, for both.
Yeah.
You run
Uh-huh.
both. So those are two separate, they kind of break into two models, like, because one is avoidance and one is overcompensating. And I would look at, when you overcompensate and you over deliver, does that end up then feeling good to you, or does it feel like you're tired and wearing yourself out all the time because you're constantly trying to do more than is maybe what's necessary, and you're constantly questioning if it's enough, and blah 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 blah? Okay, I'm going to jump back to everyone else,
Yeah.
but that's something for you to think about. Okay, guys, so did everybody, I want everyone to pop in the, can't handle this responsibility. Okay. I want everyone to pop in the chat what the results are when you put that thought into the model. What results did you come up with? Anyone? Trapped in a vicious cycle, getting nothing done. Okay. And Carrie, what was that thought from? Definitely a self-fulfilling prophecy. Carrie, what was the thought from that you plugged in? Lack of time and focus. Okay, cool. So Amy, if you procrastinate from overwhelm, what thought was, oh, yours was around, can't remember, Amy, yours was around time? Okay. Overcompensate until I'm exhausted, and then I avoid. Totally, Shauna. Totally. Okay. So this is where I want you to go. So if those thoughts are within us, and I want you to look to see go back to what percentage it was that you guys gave me of your thought download. If you were someone that wrote down, if it was over 50%, you achieving the results that you want in a way that feels relatively easy, happens really quickly, is relatively effortless, is going to be significantly harder if you are in the like 60, 70, 80% of mostly negative thoughts. And so oftentimes what we do is, when we're trying to make a goal happen, we have this to-do list and we have all these ideas about how we make it happen. And we think we just need to cross things off our to-do list. But what happens is we either don't do them, we procrastinate, this is all forms of self-sabotage, but or we'll do them and we'll take forever. We'll do them and we won't get the result that we were expecting. Like I was saying earlier, we could rebrand all day long and still not get the actual result that we want. So, or we can force ourselves to do it and end up being exhausted and sick and questioning why we did it in the first place and feel miserable and maybe want to take it all back. And if you have thoughts that very effortlessly drive feelings that inspire the action that makes the results that you want, just becomes way easier. You achieve the things that you want way quicker. It just is, and it's way more fun along the way. Because here's the thing, guys, I don't care that much if you achieve your goals, honestly. I mean, I do, but I don't care as much about that as I care about you being in a place where you feel alive and satisfied and excited about life and like just soaking it all up, like full, feeling like totally full. That's where I want you to live. And when you live in that place, you guys have all probably experienced that results come a lot quicker in a lot more magical, wonderful ways than when we are up against like just feeling like we're fighting it, right? So that means, and I'm approaching time, it doesn't matter how much time I give myself, I just always go over. That means that making the results happen for the year have nothing to do with creating a task list or to-do list or anything like that. And it has everything to do with looking at the thoughts that you wrote down today and working on shifting those thoughts and working on cultivating new thoughts that serve you, make your life better, and help you get the results that you want. And the way that we do that is through massive awareness and then intentionally practicing new thoughts. Now, I was really hoping to get into how we intentionally practice new thoughts, but I am totally out of time now because I also have client calls today. But those are the things. If you are constantly practicing awareness and pruning out thoughts that aren't serving you, and then constantly practicing new thoughts that do serve you in an intentional way, it will be like effortless that these things happen for you. Now, that growing of creating the new thoughts is a simple process, but it's not necessarily easy. But once you have the new thoughts and the new beliefs in place, it's like the results are almost instant. So that is what you want to focus on for the year. So where I say in this invitation and in my emails that this is a roadmap for the year, it's an organic, living, breathing document that I see as a roadmap for the year. Because as you break through these thoughts that are holding you back, then you're creating new thoughts that are serving you. And as you work closer and closer towards your goals, your brain is going to find all the other thoughts then that you're going to have to work through. And so it's kind of like this thing where it gets easier and then new things come, and it gets easier and new things come, and it gets easier and new things come. And it's your job to work on those thoughts, because if you're working on those thoughts, the results are like immediate, like they just will come. So every single day, my recommendation is do the exercise that we did today. Now, you don't have to take the time that we took, but I want you to do the exercise of focusing on what your goal is that you're working on currently, and do a brain dump of all the things. And that will give you a really good starting place for kind of where you're at for the day. You're going to likely get things that come up in the same theme over and over. And then I want you to work on those. And likewise, how we worked on the model that was like the I have so much to do model about the to-do list versus the I got this, which allowed things to get done easily. You are going to have that for all of the things that come up that are your roadblocks. So like for Shauna, she has this guilt that keeps coming back of she's going to let people down, and it's this cycle, right? So, and it comes from a thought of I'm letting people down, or I'm going to let people down. It's her job to come up with a model that stems from a thought that drives a more that drives a feeling that more serves her, and then she needs to go to work on shifting that thought. So instead of I'm letting people down, maybe her belief ends up becoming, what would it be? I always give exactly what I should give when I should give it. Or I have faith that what I'm giving is the exact right amount. Right? So do you see the difference? So it's then Shauna's job to work on shifting that belief, because if in her heart she believed I always give the exact right amount at the exact right time when it's right for me, or whatever I give always lands with someone, no matter how little. If she believed that in her heart, the guilt would go away. Yes. So then the guilt goes away. And Shauna, I trust myself to give the right amount at the right time. What feeling does that bring? I can tell you what it brings for me, but what feeling does it bring for you? Ease, calm, confidence. Yeah. So then you're living in the place that you want to be living in. And those feelings are feelings that drive the kind of results that you want. So that's why this brain dump and doing these exercises on a regular basis is crucial to your happiness and to your success. And working to shift those thoughts and those beliefs is your work. It just is, because everything else will fall into place. I can promise you that. So we are, of course, still over. Do you guys have any questions for me? I'm happy to take questions. I have all kinds of more stuff I wanted to cover, but I am out of time. So you guys, this has been awesome. This has been so good. So if any of you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. It's libby@libbyco.com. I'm going to be sending out the replay so you can rewatch this if you would like, especially if you're getting into the practice of doing this. If you want to know more about how to shift your thoughts and shift your beliefs so that the results become much easier and you can feel much happier, then feel free to sign up for a free consult. I can just email me and I'll share that link with you, unless you've already done so, but I also have I have 2 coaching spots left, and that's it right now. So if you guys want to dive deeper, I'm available in that capacity as well. All right. If none of you guys have any questions, this was such a joy. This has really been a fun workshop for me. You're welcome, Shauna. You're so welcome. I hope all of you guys found this helpful, found some value in it. You're welcome, Amy. I will talk to you guys later. Yeah, you're welcome, Felicity. You're welcome, Sarah. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome, Amy. Okay. Bye, guys.